Last week, a man came into my consultation room and told me he had been walking 30 minutes every single day for 2 years. He was proud of that. He should have been. But he also told me his knees had been aching for 18 months, that he finished every walk feeling more exhausted than when he started, and that a strange numbness had developed in both legs that he had started to accept as normal. I asked him to show me how he walked. Within 30 seconds, I could see 5 separate mistakes, none of which he had any idea he was making. That conversation is what this video is. Welcome to Healthy Aging Research. My name is Emily Hart, and this channel exists to give adults over 55 the kind of honest, evidence-informed guidance that most people never receive in a standard doctor's appointment. Not because their doctor does not care, but because there simply is not time to go this deep. That is exactly what we do here. We take the research seriously, explain it in plain language, and give you practical steps that make a real difference to how you feel every single day. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Walking is one of the most powerful health tools available to anyone over 50. The evidence behind it is genuinely remarkable. Reduced cardiovascular risk, better blood sugar regulation, stronger joints, sharper thinking, and meaningfully longer life. But here is what almost nobody tells you. All of that only holds true when you walk correctly. Walk the wrong way, and you do not simply get a smaller benefit. You create new problems on top of the ones you were trying to address. Here are the 7 most common walking mistakes I see, and exactly what to do about each one. And before we go further, if this channel gives you something useful today, consider subscribing now. Every week, we publish honest, evidence-informed guidance built specifically for adults navigating health after 55. It takes 1 second, costs nothing, and means you will never miss what comes next. Why walking after 50 is different, and why it matters more than ever. Before we get into the mistakes, it helps to understand what is happening inside your body after 50, because this context changes everything. 4 significant physiological shifts occur simultaneously as we age. First, muscle mass begins to decline, a gradual process called sarcopenia that costs roughly 1 to 2% of total muscle every year after 50. Over a decade, that is a loss of 15 to 20% of the muscle that stabilizes your joints, regulates your blood sugar, holds your posture upright, and keeps you balanced when you walk. Second, your joints stiffen. The cartilage cushioning the ends of your bones has no direct blood supply. It receives its nutrients exclusively through movement, via the lubricating fluid inside the joint. Without regular motion, cartilage literally starves, thins, and begins to break down. That breakdown is what we call osteoarthritis, and while it is not inevitable, the wrong movement habits can accelerate it significantly. Third, your resting metabolism slows by roughly 2 to 3% every decade. The same lifestyle that maintained your weight at 35 will gradually shift it at 55, not because you changed, but because your body did. And fourth, circulation becomes less efficient. Blood vessel walls lose some elasticity. Blood flow to the legs and feet deteriorates. This is why so many adults over 50 notice cold feet, leg heaviness by evening, and cramping at night. Walking addresses all 4 of these changes simultaneously, when done correctly. Let us make sure yours is. Mistake 1. Starting your walk too fast. This is the most common mistake across every age group and every fitness level, and it is also the easiest to fix. Most people step outside and immediately walk at full pace. It feels efficient. But your body does not operate like a machine with an on-off switch. It needs time to transition from rest to movement, and skipping that transition carries real consequences after 50. When you start too fast, your muscles are cold and less elastic, which increases the risk of tiny micro tears in the muscle tissue that accumulate silently into chronic pain over time. Your joints are not yet lubricated. The synovial fluid inside them needs a few minutes of slow movement to spread evenly across the cartilage surface and create a protective film. And your cardiovascular system has not had time to adapt. Heart rate and blood pressure spike more sharply than necessary, placing unnecessary stress on blood vessels that are already less elastic than they once were. Imagine Alan, age 63. Every morning he steps out of his front door and immediately heads off at a brisk pace, keen to get his 30 minutes done before breakfast. By the time he reaches the end of his street, his knees are already complaining. He has assumed for 2 years that it is arthritis worsening. It may simply be cold cartilage running dry before the joint has had a chance to lubricate itself. One small change, starting slowly, could transform those first 10 minutes entirely. The fix costs you nothing and takes no extra time. Simply spend the first 3 to 5 minutes of every walk moving at a deliberately slow pace, almost leisurely. That is your warm-up. After 5 minutes, your joints are lubricated, your muscles are warm, and your heart has settled into a comfortable working rhythm. Then pick up the pace. Those 3 to 5 minutes are not wasted time. They are protection.
If you have been managing morning joint stiffness and have not yet seen our video on what cloves actually do to inflammation, that is linked in the description below. The two topics are more connected than most people realize.
Mistake 2. Walking with poor posture. Go outside and observe how most people walk. Shoulders rounded forward, head jutting out ahead of the body, eyes aimed at the pavement a few feet ahead. This is not simply an aesthetic issue. It is a mechanical one with real health consequences that most people attribute entirely to age. Here is the physics. An adult head weighs approximately 10 to 12 pounds. When it sits directly over the spine, the neck carries exactly that load. But when the head shifts forward by just 1 to 2 inches, which is what happens when you look down or hunch forward, the load on the neck and upper spine multiplies 3 to 5 times. That means your neck muscles are carrying 40 to 50 pounds continuously throughout your entire walk. That neck ache you feel coming home from a walk? That tension across your shoulders that you have been blaming on stress or getting older? In many cases, it is not age. It is posture. And posture is completely correctable. The second consequence lands on your breathing. When your chest is compressed and your shoulders are rolled forward, your diaphragm, the dome-shaped breathing muscle beneath your lungs, cannot fully descend. Your lungs cannot fully expand. You breathe shallowly, using only the upper portion of your chest, and your muscles and brain receive less oxygen than they need. You walk for 30 minutes and feel as though you walked for an hour. People blame fitness levels or age. The real culprit is a correctable mechanical position. There is a third consequence that connects everything together. Poor posture disrupts the entire biomechanical chain from head to foot. Head forward causes the lower back to compensate with an exaggerated arch. The pelvis tilts. The knees begin operating at the wrong angle. The load on your knee and hip joints increases, not because of deterioration, but because of one specific correctable error. The correction is simple. Imagine a gentle thread attached to the crown of your head drawing you upward. Not a rigid military stance, just a natural lengthening of the spine. Shoulders relaxed and slightly back, eyes forward on the horizon, chin parallel to the ground, chest open. Hold that position and your lungs work fully. Your neck carries no excess load, and your spine distributes weight exactly as it was designed to. Practice it before you leave the house. Within 2 weeks, it will become your natural walking position. Mistake 3. Wearing the wrong shoes. Footwear is the last thing most people think about when they consider their walking habits. For your joints, it should be among the first. Two changes happen with age that make the right shoes critically important. First, the natural fat pads on the soles of your feet thin over time. These pads existed as built-in shock absorbers, softening the impact of every heel strike. As they diminish, that impact travels directly up the chain with every single step: ankle, knee, hip, lower back. Second, the muscles and ligaments supporting the foot's arch weaken with age. The arch can begin to collapse, which shifts the load angle on the knee, alters hip alignment, and increases spinal stress in ways that accumulate quietly over months and years. What you need in a walking shoe is straightforward: adequate cushioning in both the heel and the forefoot to absorb ground impact, arch support that follows the natural shape of your foot, and a flexible sole at the front of the shoe that allows your foot to roll naturally from heel to toe without overloading the calf and Achilles tendon. One detail that most people miss: the cushioning in the midsole of a walking shoe, the layer between the outer rubber and the inner lining, loses its shock-absorbing properties long before the shoe looks worn on the outside. If you walk regularly and your shoes are more than a year old, pick them up and press your thumb firmly into the midsole. If it feels hard and unresponsive rather than slightly springy, the cushioning is gone, even if the outer sole still looks perfectly fine. Your joints are absorbing every impact that the shoe no longer is. Replacing them is one of the simplest and highest return investments you can make in your long-term joint health. Before we talk about how often you walk, take a quick look at your feet right now. Are you wearing the shoes you walk in most often? If they are more than a year old and you have never done that thumb test, do it today before your next walk. What you find may surprise you. Before we move on, I want to ask you for a quick favor. Right now, 98% of the people watching this video are not subscribed to this channel. If you are enjoying this and finding it useful, take a second to subscribe so you never miss what we publish next. We are working toward 1,000 subscribers by the end of this month, and we are almost there. 1 second is all it takes. Mistake 4. Walking rarely, but for long distances when you do. Imagine Robert, age 68. During the week, he is busy: work, grandchildren, household responsibilities. So he saves his exercise for the weekend. Saturday morning, he heads out for a long walk, an hour, sometimes longer. He comes home tired, feels he has done something meaningful for his health, and considers the week's fitness requirement complete. By Sunday, his legs ache. By Monday, he is back on the sofa. And the cycle repeats every week without his fitness improving at all. From a physiological standpoint, this pattern is fundamentally ineffective. And for Robert's joints, it is actively counterproductive. Your body does not respond to isolated bursts of activity. It responds to repeated, consistent signals. Every time you walk, your body receives a message. Physical activity is the norm here. In response to that repeated message, your heart becomes more efficient. Your blood vessels adapt, your muscles strengthen, your metabolism stays active. This is called training adaptation, and it only occurs when the signal repeats regularly. 1 walk a week is too infrequent for adaptation to occur. Beyond that, a single long walk after days of inactivity is a genuine stress event for unprepared muscles, and the soreness that follows leads many people to the wrong conclusion that walking is simply not suited to their body. The body is fine. The pattern is the problem. 20 to 30 minutes of walking on 5 to 6 days per week is what the evidence consistently supports for meaningful cardiovascular and metabolic benefit. If that feels like too much right now, start with 3 days a week and 10 minutes at a time. Add 5 minutes every 2 weeks. Gradual is not weakness. It is strategy, and it is what actually works. Mistake 5. Keeping your arms still. Most people walk with their arms hanging at their sides, held stiff, or tucked into their pockets. It feels comfortable and natural, but here is what that habit is quietly costing you. Walking is a whole-body activity built around what researchers call cross-coordination. When your left leg steps forward, your right arm swings forward and vice versa. This pattern is hardwired into your nervous system. It distributes load across the spine symmetrically and reduces the twisting force on your lower back with every step. When your arms are static, the spine compensates for that asymmetry by over-rotating in the lower back region. That lower back tightness you feel during or after a walk, the one you have been attributing to your age or your posture or your mattress, may, in significant part, be your spine overworking to compensate for arms that are not doing their share. This is one of the most overlooked mechanical contributors to walking-related back discomfort in adults over 50. Beyond spinal mechanics, arm swing recruits the muscles of the shoulders, chest, and upper back. More active muscle means higher caloric expenditure, better circulation, and a stronger overall cardiovascular response from the exact same distance and time. The same 30-minute walk, done with proper arm movement, delivers measurably more benefit than one done with arms pinned to the body. The correction is simple. Bend your elbows to roughly 90 degrees and allow them to swing forward and back in easy rhythm, opposite to your leg movement. No exaggerated pumping. Just stop holding them still. After 2 or 3 walks, the rhythm becomes completely automatic, and the difference in how your back and legs feel afterwards is immediately noticeable. Stop for a moment before we go into the final 2 mistakes. How many of these 5 mistakes have you recognized in yourself? If the answer is 2 or more, and for most people it will be, I want you to know something important. Not one of these mistakes requires you to walk further, walk longer, or spend money on a program or a gym. Every single correction we have covered costs nothing and adds nothing to your existing routine. You are already walking. We are simply changing how. The next 2 mistakes are the ones most people dismiss as minor. They are not. Keep watching. Mistake 6. Walking with your phone in your hand. This mistake did not exist 20 years ago. Today, it is one of the most widespread habits I see, and one of the most consequential for adults over 50 specifically. When you hold a phone and look at a screen while walking, your head tilts downward. We have already established what that does to the cervical spine. The load on your neck muscles multiplies 3 to 5 times. Your shoulders round forward, your chest compresses, your breathing becomes shallow. Everything we covered in the posture section happens, but amplified, because the head angle when looking at a phone is typically lower than ordinary slouching. Here is a simple test. The next time you pick up your phone during a walk, notice where your eyes go, notice where your head goes, and notice what happens to your shoulders in that exact moment. That single moment of awareness changes the habit faster than any instruction ever will. Try it on your next walk and see what you discover. But there is a second consequence that matters even more for older adults. After 50, the balance system in the inner ear begins to operate with slightly less precision. The body's sense of its own position in space, proprioception, also gradually fades. As a result, the brain increasingly relies on visual information from the environment to maintain balance while walking. When your eyes are fixed on a screen, your brain is deprived of its most critical source of spatial information. Uneven pavement, curb edges, wet surfaces, sudden changes in ground level, all of these become invisible hazards. A fall after 60 is not simply an embarrassing moment. It frequently means a fractured wrist, fractured ribs, or most seriously, a hip fracture, which for many older adults marks the beginning of a significant and lasting decline in independence. The single most effective thing you can do to reduce your fall risk on every walk you take is to put your phone in your pocket and keep your eyes on the world around you. If you want audio, music, a podcast, an audiobook, use earbuds. Keep the screen out of your hands, and notice what happens when you do. You will feel more balanced, more present, and more aware of your surroundings within the first 5 minutes. Your brain, your balance, and your safety all benefit immediately and directly from this one change. We are almost at the end. 6 mistakes down, 1 to go. And I want to be honest with you about mistake 7. It is the one that gets dismissed most often. People hear it and think, that sounds minor, I'll worry about that later. But the seniors who make the fastest and most lasting improvements to how they feel after walking are almost always the ones who take this final point the most seriously. Do not skip it. Mistake 7. Ignoring recovery after your walk. That stiffness in your calves the morning after a walk. The tightness across your lower back that takes until mid-morning to ease. The recurring cramp in your calf that wakes you at 2 in the morning. Most people accept these as inevitable signs of aging. In many cases, they are signs of a recovery deficit, something entirely within your control to address starting today. Your body does not adapt during exercise. It adapts during the recovery that follows. That is when muscle fibers reinforce themselves, when joints remodel in response to the load you placed on them, when the cardiovascular system restructures to handle the new demands being placed on it. Skip recovery consistently, and adaptation is significantly reduced. The walk happens, but the benefit never fully builds. 3 things matter here. First, hydration. Muscle tissue is approximately 70% water, and every process inside it, contraction, relaxation, repair, happens in a fluid environment. Even mild dehydration measurably reduces muscle elasticity, slows recovery, and increases cramping risk. A glass of water immediately after your walk is not a wellness suggestion, it is basic physiology. Second, stretching. During walking, your muscles work primarily in a shortening and contracting mode. Afterwards, they remain slightly shortened, and if that is never addressed, the shortening accumulates over weeks and months. Muscles become progressively tighter. Joint range of motion decreases. Morning stiffness worsens. 5 minutes of gentle stretching after every walk, focusing on the calves, the back of the thighs, and the lower back, prevents this process almost entirely. 5 minutes. That is the entire investment. Third, rest days. 1 to 2 rest days per week is not laziness. It is the correct physiological protocol. Without adequate rest, the adaptation that makes walking progressively easier and more beneficial simply does not occur. You keep working, but your body never fully catches up. Think of your walk not as an isolated event, but as one part of a complete system. Movement, hydration, stretching, and rest. All 4 together produce durable, lasting results. Any one of them consistently missing reduces what the others can achieve. Imagine Christine, age 72. She walks 6 days a week without fail, proud of her consistency, and rightly so. But she never stretches afterwards, rarely drinks water before or after, and takes no rest days because she worries that stopping will undo her progress. Every morning, she wakes up stiff. Her walks have become harder rather than easier over the past year. She has started to wonder whether walking is actually working for her. It is, but her body is never getting the recovery window it needs to turn that effort into lasting physiological improvement. 3 small additions to her existing routine: water, 5 minutes of stretching, 1 rest day, would transform how she feels within 2 weeks. Before a clear and practical recap. 7 mistakes, 7 fixes. Here is your complete action plan starting from today. 1. Slow start every single time. 3 to 5 minutes of easy pace before you pick up speed. It costs you nothing and protects your joints, your muscles, and your cardiovascular system from the very first step. 2. Posture check before you leave the door. Spine tall, shoulders relaxed and slightly back, eyes forward on the horizon, chin level. Hold that position, and your neck, your lungs, and your entire biomechanical chain will work the way they were designed to. 3. Assess your shoes today. Press your thumb into the midsole. If it feels hard rather than slightly springy, the cushioning is gone regardless of how the outside looks. Replace them. Your joints will notice within days. 4. Walk more days, not necessarily longer. 5 to 6 days of 20 to 30 minutes outperforms one long weekly walk in every meaningful physiological measure. Start with 3 days, if that is where you are. Build by 5 minutes every 2 weeks. Gradual is sustainable. 5. Let your arms move. Bend your elbows, relax your shoulders, and allow a natural rhythmic swing opposite to your leg movement. Your lower back and your overall cardiovascular response will both improve from this single change. 6. Phone in your pocket for the entire walk. Eyes on your environment. Your posture, your balance, your fall risk, and your brain all benefit immediately and directly from this one decision. 7. After every walk, 1 glass of water and 5 minutes of gentle stretching. 1 to 2 rest days per week. Recovery is not optional. It is where the benefit of every walk you have ever taken actually gets built into your body. Before you go, if you have watched this far, you already know whether this channel gives you something genuinely useful. If it does, subscribing takes 1 second and means every video we publish from this point forward will find you automatically. No searching. No missing something that matters. We are working toward 1,000 subscribers by the end of this month, and we are close. If this video earned that 1 second from you, hit subscribe now. And please hit the like button too. It helps more people over 55 find this channel and access the same information you just received. One last thing. We want to hear from you in the comments today. Which of these 7 mistakes have you been making without realizing it? And which one are you going to fix starting on your very next walk? Your answer may be exactly what someone else watching this video needs to read today. And as always, if you have joint problems, cardiovascular concerns, or any condition that affects your ability to exercise, please speak with your doctor before making significant changes to your walking routine. Everything covered today is educational guidance designed to support that conversation, not replace it. Take very good care of yourself. We will see you in the next one.